Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. With the possibility of Donald Trump returning to the White House, there's a lot of talk about what his policies could mean for your hard-earned dollars. Will your bank account be singing God Bless America, or weeping softly into a pile of unpaid bills? In today's video, we're diving headfirst into the potential economic mosh pit of a Trump presidency. We'll dissect 6 key ways his policies could impact your income. And no, we haven't just pulled these out of thin air. We've got insights straight from the experts, economists, analysts, and people who can actually explain compound interest without bursting into tears. So, buckle up, buttercups, because things are about to get financially fascinating. Alright, let's kick things off with a policy that sounds like a dream come true for anyone who's ever worked a double shift at a TGI Fridays tax-free tips. Yes, you heard that right. Trump and, surprisingly, his potential opponent, Kamala Harris, are both on board with this one. It's like finding a bipartisan dollar bill on the sidewalk, a rare and beautiful thing. Jenny Thorvaldsen, a chief economist at Implan, says it could mean more cash in the pockets of millions of Americans working in tipped jobs, boosting spending and even creating new jobs. Imagine 12,000 new job openings at your local Chili's. It's enough to make you want to do a celebratory chicken dance in the parking lot. But hold your horses, because here comes the economic reality check. This policy could also blow a $15 billion hole in the GDP due to reduced tax revenue. Think of it like this. Your wallet might be doing the Macarena, but the overall economy might end up looking like it lost a dance battle, badly. So while getting an extra 20 in your pocket from a generous tipper is always nice, the broader economic implications are a bit more complicated. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while riding a unicycle, tricky, potentially messy, and bound to leave you slightly confused. Let's move on to a topic that's near and dear to the hearts and wallets of millions of Americans' student loan debt. If you're currently drowning in student loans, you might want to grab a life vest, because Trump has made it abundantly clear that he's not a fan of forgiveness programs. In fact, he called Biden's policy vile. With nearly 43 million Americans carrying the burden of student loan debt, this could be a major financial gut punch. We're talking about a generation that's already struggling to afford avocado toast and therapy, and now they're being told they'll never escape the shackles of their student loans? That's enough to make you want to move into a yurt and live off the grid. But before you start investing in solar panels and composting toilets, let's hear what the experts have to say. Financial expert Russell Rosario warns that without some form of loan forgiveness, we could see higher default rates, damaged credit scores, and limited borrowing options for an entire generation. It's like being stuck in financial quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. According to Michael Schmid, a senior financial analyst, this could pump the brakes on economic growth as younger generations have less disposable income to spend on things like homes, cars, or even starting new businesses. It's a ripple effect of epic proportions, and not the good kind of ripple, like the ones you get on a pond. These ripples could create a tsunami of economic uncertainty. Next up, we're tackling a topic that's often considered the third rail of American politics: Social Security. Now, Trump's proposal to eliminate taxes on Social Security might sound like a sweet deal for seniors, especially if you've ever struggled to stretch a fixed income further than a yoga instructor on a retreat. Imagine, no more government taking a chunk out of your hard-earned Social Security checks. You could finally afford that timeshare in Boca Raton, or that life-size cardboard cutout of Tom Selleck you've always wanted. But before you start planning your retirement rager, let's tap the brakes for a second and consult the financial oracles. Experts like David Brillant warn that while this policy might seem like a windfall for seniors in the short term, it could actually be a ticking time bomb for the entire Social Security program. You see, Social Security is already teetering on the brink of insolvency. It's like a game of Jenga played by someone who's had one too many tequila shots, remove the wrong block, and the whole thing collapses. Without this crucial source of funding, there's a very real risk of benefit cuts or even tax increases down the road. So, while you might be sipping margaritas in Boca, future generations could be stuck with the tab. Nishay Rawal, a CPA, points out that losing this revenue stream could also impact funding for other essential programs like Medicare. Alright, parents and guardians, this next one's for you. Trump has proposed increasing the child tax credit from a measly $2,000 to a slightly less measly $5,000 per child. Now, I know what you're thinking. $5,000? That's barely enough to cover a year's worth of organic baby carrots and ethically sourced onesies. And you're not wrong. But hey, it's still more money, right? Financial expert Bill Boersma explains that this would likely boost short-term spending, especially in local communities. Think of it as a financial sugar rush for the economy, brief, intense, and potentially followed by a crash. This move would either reduce tax revenue or increase the national deficit, which is already about as healthy as a chain smoker's lungs. Remember the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017? No? Well, you're not alone. It's like that one weird neighbor who throws loud parties you never get invited to. You know they're up to something, but you're not entirely sure what. Well, get ready for round two, because if re-elected, Trump could extend these policies, which have been a boon for businesses, especially those of the large corporation variety. Michael Schmid notes that while extending these tax cuts could encourage business investment, it also risks widening the already gaping chasm of income inequality. It's like a game of Monopoly where one player starts with all the hotels and the rest of you are stuck fighting over Baltic Avenue. David Fritsch, an attorney and CPA, points out that these tax cuts haven't exactly led to a surge in wage growth or business investment for the average Joe and Jane. So, unless you're part of the top 1%, these policies might not do much for you, except maybe inspire a healthy dose of existential dread. And last but not least, we arrive at a policy that's about as popular as a skunk at a picnic: universal tariffs on imports. Trump has floated the idea of slapping a 10% tariff on all goods entering the US, which sounds about as appealing as licking a cactus. Now, the purported goal of this policy is to protect American jobs and bring back manufacturing to the glory days of yore. David Fritsch warns that these broad tariffs would essentially act like taxes on consumers, driving up prices on everything from toasters to toilet paper. Remember that avocado toast you couldn't afford because of your crippling student loan debt? Yeah, well, now it costs even more. And as if that weren't bad enough, there's also the risk of retaliatory tariffs from our trading partners. So, there you have it, 6 ways a Trump presidency could impact your income. From tax-free tips to universal tariffs, each policy has its upsides and downsides. Like a two-headed coin, you can never quite figure out how to flip. What do you think? Are you ready to roll the dice with Trump's economic policies, or are you running for the hills with your savings in tow? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more insights into how political changes could affect your money. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.